Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Magicians, a Korean movie from 2005 that was directed by Il-gon Song. Now, that name is not exactly a famous one to international audiences, but he was the first Korean to win an award at the Cannes Film Festival with his short film Picnic from 1999. He also went on to direct three very impressive films within a 2-year period. The horror film Spider Forest from 2004, the drama Feathers in the Wind from 2005, and Magicians from 2005. Now, Magicians is one of those movies that is rather special to me personally for a variety of reasons. First of all, it's one of the rarest and most difficult to find films in my personal collection, so it feels special whenever I rewatch it because I know that very few people have actually seen this film. Another thing that makes it special is that it's one of those rare feature-length films that was shot in a single take, from start to finish. And this is a 96-minute long movie. So they set everything up in the production and then ran the camera for 96 minutes straight and basically filmed the entire movie that way. That does not happen too often in cinema. Now, you may be familiar with some films that are presented as if they were shot in a single take, but they actually weren't. You know, stuff like Birdman or The Silent House are two examples. The only other feature-length movie that I've personally seen that was actually shot in a single take was the film Russian Ark. But that was a pretty fantastic production. The film itself kind of left me somewhat underwhelmed for a number of reasons that I won't get into here. So what is Magicians about? Well, the film opens with an odd woman roaming around in a forest, and she walks into a cabin cafe. It's a little cabin that also doubles as a cafe, apparently, that anyone can walk into and buy a drink. And this woman invites us as viewers to join her. Now, two men, formerly in a rock band, are talking and remembering good times. They do not notice that this woman is there, so she eavesdrops on their conversations along with us. And the story essentially revolves around the reunion of this former rock band in this little cabin and surrounding forest area. The spirit of a deceased band member also watches over them, and a former monk decides to pay a visit. So, the band's name was The Magicians, which explains the title of the film. That's basically your movie. Now, the important thing that I need to point out is that this single-take structure and production thankfully avoids becoming a mere gimmick, because it's used to complement the mood and the characters. You know, that's probably why I enjoyed this film a lot more than Russian Ark. You know, Russian Ark went for like this big epic scale production, which was pretty impressive, but it lacked an engaging story and characters. Magicians, on the other hand, is content with a far smaller scale production, but that allows for like a more intimate experience with these characters, and it benefits because of this. It feels like the story of a real rock band, actually, given how the interaction plays out. Now, this movie flows remarkably well and has an unusual feel to it, you know, almost like a magical stage play. I would describe it as. It takes place inside the cabin cafe, as well as outside in the surrounding forest. So this is how to think about this film. Imagine if a group of people put on a stage play just for you. And during the play, you are allowed to walk around on the stage and observe them as they're performing. And then you follow the actors as they walk outside the stage into like a snowy forest and continue their performance with you like just following them and watching them. And you can walk through and see from different angles and stuff. That's basically the experience of watching Magicians. And I think it's a really cool and unique film technique, I guess. One very interesting aspect is how this film communicates flashbacks without the need for editing, which is very neat. You know, similar again to how you would do a stage play. You know, it'll also point out that you need to pay attention to this as well. You know, lots of little references and little little discussions will pop up to important events in these characters' lives, but you might miss it if you're not paying attention, if you're not on your toes. Now, I mentioned that this has a fairly small production schedule. It does have a limited cast and limited locations, but the set design is actually quite good, and it must have been a pain in the butt to shoot this in a single take regardless. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue, and the timing of certain things that happen had to be spot on for all of this to work. It also looked pretty chilly outside at their location. You know, in the cabin, there's like a big roaring fireplace, and when the characters walk outside, you could see their breath when they're talking. So taking all this into consideration, I was pretty impressed with how the actors performed under these circumstances. I think they nailed it. My personal favorite scenes are the ones in the forest, and any shot where the spirit playfully lingers in the background while the characters are talking. There's actually a really hilarious joke near the beginning of the film that got me in gut-wrenching laughter. Let's put it that way. The ending is good too. It kind of has an emotional resonance to it. I also like that it takes place on New Year's Eve officially, so it makes it a nice film to watch during the winter months. The only warning I would give potential viewers is that it moves pretty slowly. You know what I mean? It's a pretty deliberately paced film. But outside of that disclaimer, I strongly recommend The Magicians, which is a very unique, obscure film that's worth seeking out. You know, if you get your hands on it, definitely check it out, I would say. Like, I have a Region 3 Korean DVD with English subtitles. That DVD is out of print, but you can occasionally find it on eBay. I checked, I think last week, and I saw 2 copies floating around on eBay, so that's one spot for you. And also, 3 of this director's short films are also on that 2-disc Korean edition. So it's a lot of nice, and there's also some behind-the-scenes stuff as well. So it's definitely a release worth picking up. If that sounds interesting to you, if you want something very different and a little bit odd and charming, check out this film. I like it. And as always, I'll see you next time.